We're on page 79 in the grammar book, page 79. Talking about adverbs. The nice thing is you already know about adverbs. You use them already in your writing. Okay, somebody's messaging me. Hold on just a second here. Okay, some of them are trying to log in, so as they come, I'll just let them in. But anyway, most of the time, as you know, Easton, adverbs have the ly at the end, and that's what you use in your writing when you write your paragraphs. That's one of your dress-up words to make sure to include an ly adverb. But basically, the job of the adverb modifies a verb, an adjective, or another verb. That word modifies just means it adds more to it. So it gives more information about it. And it's talking mostly about verbs, but sometimes adjectives and adverbs. Okay, everybody's messaging me right now, the people who are not here. So let me just check really quick. Oh, okay. Okay, so I think that Peter's not going to be here. I think Caden's trying to come in though. Okay, so Caden's coming in. The rest of them are absent, so I'll just keep recording. You're going to ask these questions: how, when, where, why, and to what extent. That's going to help you identify what the adverb is. However, for you guys in this book, it's the ly word, so it'll be super easy to spot. But these are the questions that it answers. So look at this example here. Actually, this is telling you how you're going to mark it. You're going to put ly above each ly adverb. Super simple. Here's your example. The dwarf respectfully bowed. He was exceedingly grateful. Obviously, both of these have the ly at the end, and then you just label it with ly on top. That first sentence says the dwarf respectfully bowed. So bowed is an action. It's a verb. It's bending at your waist, bending down like after a show or something if you're on stage. Or if you're in Asia, that's how they greet each other. They bow to each other. So respectfully tells a little bit more about how they bowed. Remember, it's answering that question, how? How did they bow? They bowed respectfully. This one, exceedingly grateful, is modifying or adding to an adjective because grateful tells a feeling and it's describing someone, how they feel, they're grateful. Exceedingly grateful tells a little bit more about the word grateful, and it has ly. Okay, so pretty easy. Down here it says an ly adverb dresses up writing when it creates a strong image or feeling. Look for ly adverbs in this book and write them on the ly adverb collection page, Appendix X. If you want, Easton, at the back of this book, you can make a list of your ly adverbs that you like and that you find in this book. You don't have to do that. That's an option. Okay. Let's go to the practice page next. And Easton, go ahead and read the sentences, please.
The first soldier returned to his friends. He was upset and what is that? What kind of word is that?
Sheep, you got that part right. Sheepishly.
Sheepishly told them the story.
You're funny. That's kind of how I feel too. It's like, what? Okay, we don't use that one very often, but obviously it has the word sheep. We know what a sheep is. And if you've ever been around sheep or raised sheep, I have, and they're shy and they're timid or scared, they get scared easily, right? Because they're prey. They're not a predator, they're the prey. So sheepishly almost is like embarrassing, like he was embarrassed. He was upset and sheepishly, maybe he embarrassingly told them the story. So he was a little bit shy about it and embarrassed. That's what that means. So go ahead and put a check mark there. And then you know the articles, a and the, and go ahead and find them. There's two. Go ahead and find them by yourself and label those. Okay, good. And then what about the nouns? There's three nouns, Easton.
Soldier.
Good.
Story? It might be story.
Yeah. No, story's right. That's one. And then there's one more.
He? No, that's
That's going to be a pronoun.
uh,
It's in the first sentence.
friends.
Yes, friends. Good. Because those are people. So person, place, or thing. So pronouns, he, you said it earlier, that's actually a pronoun. And then I just wanted to point out his is actually not a pronoun in this sentence because it's telling whose friends. So it actually is an adjective. So it's not that one, but there's one more. Can you find the other pronoun in the second sentence? It's plural. Plural pronoun. Yeah, like more than one person pronoun. It's actually right here, them. Them is a pronoun, actually. So let's put it there, PR, because it's referring to his friends. And that's more than one friend. There's an S there. So them is a pronoun. Good. Okay. Well, I already told you his is an adjective. So let's go ahead and label that one right here because it's telling whose friends. So put ADJ there. And then I want you to look at soldier, the noun soldier. Which one? Which soldier are they talking about?
The first.
The first. Good. So that is another adjective. Here comes Caden. And then I want you to look at a word. Hi, Caden. We're on page 81, okay, in the grammar book. I'll let you catch up for a second. In the second sentence, Easton, there's a word that tells how he feels. Which word tells how he feels in the second sentence?
Upset.
Yes, good. So that is also an adjective because it's describing him. It's describing how he feels. And then the next one, Easton, is pretty obvious. The ly adverb. Which one has ly?
Sheepishly.
Sheepishly. That's a weird word, but it's a word. So, and you're right, it does have ly. We're just going to label it with ly. So earlier, Caden, we talked on the Learn It page, and you can look at that later after class. We learned about ly adverbs, but the cool thing is we already know about those. We use them in our writing already. So now it's going to be in this book. It's going to be on your list, like right here where it was. So you're basically looking for a word that ends with ly, and you're just going to label it ly. That's the adverb. Okay. So got that. How about okay, I'm gonna ask Caden this one. Do you remember coordinating conjunctions? That's that word fanboys. You guys remember when we talked about fanboys? Okay. Do you see one of those words in these sentences? Remember, it's for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Go ahead, Caden. Which one is it?
And.
Good. So go ahead and put CC there for coordinating conjunction. Okay, and next on our list is prepositional phrase, but I like to keep that till the end, okay? So I'm going to go back to Easton. Let's focus on the subject verb pairs. Let's look for verbs first. So where are the action words or helping verbs?
Like a verb, like action or something.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Returned.
Yes, good. Returned is one.
Old.
Old, good. That's another one. And then the third one is it's a linking verb. It's one of those linking verbs. So look at the words that are left without a label. See if you can see which one it is. It's linking a pronoun to an adjective.
Two.
No, not that one. What's the other word that doesn't have a label?
Was.
There you go. Was. It says he was upset. So it's linking, it's connecting he and upset. He was upset. So that becomes a verb. Okay. And you mentioned the word to. We should fix that because it's not spelled right. Did you guys notice that? So Caden, how should we spell to here?
T-O.
Just T-O. Yeah. So draw a line through T-O-O and write it above that. And oh, we got to find the subjects too. So Caden, what are the subjects? So who was it that returned to his friends?
The soldier.
Good. That's the soldier is the subject there. And then in the second sentence, who's the subject in the second sentence?
He.
Good. Yes. He was upset and sheepishly told them the story. So he is the subject here. Good. All right, we got those. Now we have, where is the prepositional phrase, Easton?
Oh, this is where I always get stuck for some reason.
That's okay. So here, I'll help you with this. So every word pretty much has a label, except for the word to. We fixed it because it was spelled wrong, but we didn't label that one yet. And then we have adjective, noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, CCs, coordinating conjunction, ly, blah, blah, blah. So to is the only one that doesn't really have a label. So that's going to be the beginning of your prepositional phrase. Okay.
Would it be like to his friends or something?
Yes, that's right. Good. To his friends. That's exactly it. Remember, it always ends on a noun or a pronoun sometimes. Mostly it's a noun. So to his friends ends on the noun friends. That's perfect. Okay, so Caden, how about capitals?
The and he.
The and he. Good. End mark, Easton?
Period.
Good. And then we already fixed the homophone. That was the word to. We already fixed that. So we got it. Good job, guys. Any questions about this? Okay. Your homework is the next 3 pages. So 82, 83, and 84. And now go ahead and get out your binders next. It was a long time ago, the last time we met. Like I could tell you we met last year, so it was that long ago, right? 2023 is no longer 2023. So, the last story we worked on was the Little Red Hen. It feels like forever ago when we did that, but you should have already put all of that away. And you should have deserts out, I think, right? Maybe you don't have that out yet. Hold on. Yeah, we did get that out. Do you guys have week 9 in your front pocket already? Caden?
I was looking for it the week 9, but I couldn't find it in my binder.
Oh, you
But
don't have it?
I have week 10.
Weird. Like it, did you look in the front pocket of the binder,
Yeah,
the very front? Oh.
yeah,
And then did you look behind source text too? Source
yeah.
text? Oh
I don't
no.
know what happened to it, but it's kind of like missing. But I can do it the next time.
Um, maybe check just in case, can you check in your finished compositions tab? I wonder if it accidentally got moved over there.
Okay.
Yeah, just check there really quick, see if it's there. If it's not, I'll make a copy and send it, I'll email it to your mom, okay? I'm making a note here just in case you can't find it. Because you'll need it for your homework for sure. That's weird. I wonder what happened to it. No? Okay. Well, for today, you can just watch the screen, okay? And then after class, I'll email it to your mom, and then maybe she can print it on your computer or in your printer. You guys have a printer at your house? Okay. And then you can have it, but I wonder what happened to it. Don't forget, guys, every time we end up class at the end, make sure you keep it all in the pocket until you're ready to do your homework. That way it stays safe. Also, do you guys have this page? This is what we worked on way back last year. Do you have this one? Okay, Kaden, good, you both have it. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to review this really quick with you. We did talk about this before Christmas, but I'm just going to review it with you. So we're moving on to Unit 4. We used to be in Unit 3. That was the one about the story sequence chart. You know, we did the little red hen. We had talked about characters and setting and problem and solution and all that. We're done with that for now. We're moving more into academic writing. This is like writing a report about something. And this is good to know because you can do this in any class that you have. Like for history, if your mom wants you to write a report about a California mission or something like that, then you can use this format. You can do this to write your report. It's going to help you a lot in school because you'll have a lot of reports to do while you're in school. Summarizing a reference. That's the name of the unit. And remember how we talked about that word summarize, summarizing? We circled sum and we're like, wait a second, that sounds like math, right? The sum of 2 plus 5 is 7. That's the sum. And it makes you think of, well, maybe it's the total, right? But that's not what you write when you're summarizing. You're only writing some information, SOME. And that means part, right? Like if you ask your mom for some cake, you are asking for a piece of cake. Maybe you want to eat the whole thing, the whole cake, but you know you can't. That'll make you sick. So you just ask mom, can I have some cake, right? You want a piece of cake. So some is you're retelling some of the information, not all of it. And then here, reference, we talked about how that means information. So reference is something like a book or a website or an article, somewhere you get information. It could be even a documentary. I don't know if you've ever seen like National Geographic. They have documentaries on different things. Yeah. So that's where you find information. So you're telling some information, okay, in a report. That's what we're learning. Then we also talked about this funnel. And a funnel is used when you pour something from a big container into a little container and you use this device. It's like a tool, you know, you pour it in there. But we used it as a visual because when you read an article, a lot of times there's a lot of facts in there, a lot of information, like 20 things that you can learn. But when we go to write it, we only want to write about 5. Are you listening, Easton? Are you showing me something? What is that? Is that a bug? Ew. Okay, let's just leave that on your desk for now. So when you're looking at an article like the one we're about to read, we're going to learn about deserts, okay? There's a lot of information, but we only need to tell 5 things, 5 facts. So the way to choose you look for things that are important or relevant or interesting. And notice we put a star by interesting because if you're writing a report on something and you include the things that you think are interesting, usually the person reading it is going to think it's interesting too. So it's good to kind of use that as a rule of thumb when you're writing a report to pick things that you think are interesting, okay? And then down here, we talked about the subject. That's the main thing you're talking about. So let's say, for instance, your subject is volcanoes. You're writing a report about volcanoes. The topics are here. These are the paragraphs. So it could be one paragraph could be all about the lava. One paragraph could be all about where are volcanoes located. And another paragraph could be all about how it affects the animals in the area. You see how those are all related to volcanoes, but they're telling more information about each one of those things, right? Now, this one only has 3 topics, so there's like 3 paragraphs. Your report is only going to be 2 paragraphs, so it's not that long. It's pretty short, okay? And we're going to talk about deserts. And then we're going to talk about what can we tell about deserts? What can we explain? So over here is our example of our keyword outline. You recognize the Roman numeral and then all the other numbers underneath, but we've added a topic clencher. This is new to you guys, so it'll take a little bit of practice to get used to. But do you guys remember when I told you about the hand signals like this? And then must. Do you remember when we did that way before Christmas? Okay. So I'm going to say the rule and then you copy me, okay? You don't have to unmute. You can stay muted because it echoes sometimes. But put your hand up toward the top like this and say the topic sentence and the clincher sentence must repeat or reflect 2 or 3 key words. Now you can use either your right or your left hand. I noticed that Easton was using your left, but if you want to use your right hand, you can. It might be a little easier. I'm using my right hand, but it looks like in the reflection, it looks like my left hand. Yeah. So either way, right or left, it doesn't matter. Let's do it one more time. So when I say the topic sentence and I go like this, that means the first sentence. That's why we put it up high. And then when I say the clincher sentence, it's the last sentence of the paragraph. So you have your first sentence and your last sentence of the paragraph. That's why we make it like this, okay? So say it again one more time. Repeat after me. The topic sentence and the clincher sentence must repeat or reflect 2 or 3 key words. Good. Okay, so that's the rule, and we're going to practice that a bunch because you're going to have that rule now from now on. Okay, so all of your papers are going to include that. Let's look at, I know you don't have yours, Kaden, so you'll just have to read off of the screen here. But let's go to the Sahara Desert article right here, this one. This is page 73. Okay, we're going to read that. We're writing about deserts, and this is the first desert we're going to learn about. As I read this article, I want you guys, I know you don't have yours, Kaden, so it's going to be a little harder for you, and I'm recording this today, so if you want to go back and watch it, you can. But Easton, I want you to use your pen or your pencil, whatever you like best, and I want you to underline the things that you find interesting. Okay, there's a lot of information on here, but we only need 5 things, 5 facts, maybe 6. So when you're underlining, think about that. Don't underline all the sentences. Try to pick and choose the things that you think are interesting, okay? And underline those things. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. In a desert, little rain or snowfall occurs, so living conditions are hostile. The world's largest hot desert is the Sahara Desert. Okay, I'm going to stop there for a second because that's important. The world's largest hot desert is the Sahara Desert. So if I would underline that. The next sentence is interesting, but it doesn't really relate. It says the world's largest cold desert is the Antarctic. Now, we're not talking about the Antarctic today, so I'm not going to underline that one. That one's just extra information, okay? The Sahara stretches across the whole African continent from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea. I would underline that. That tells where it is. That's pretty important to know. Consisting mostly of vast sand seas called ergs, this desert mysteriously shifts around all the time as if it were alive. Interesting. If you want to underline that, you can. If you don't have to. You're just kind of going, what do I think is interesting here? The climate is severe. During the hot months, day temperatures soar to over 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 50 degrees Celsius. If water runs underground near the surface, green, fertile places called oases appear. People can live near an oasis. On the shores of the Nile River that flows through the Sahara, the ancient Egyptian civilization thrived. Okay, so oases with an E means plural, like more than one. Oasis with an I means one, okay? And you probably heard that word oasis before. It's usually there's palm trees and there's water and it's like in the middle of the desert. Yeah, that's what that is. So that's where people live. Obviously, they need water, so that's where people tend to live. Because water is scarce, only about 70 kinds of animals survive in the Sahara. These creatures can live for long periods of time without water. Avoiding the horrific heat of the day, vipers, lizards, sand foxes, and gerbils stay on the ergs in their burrows. Gerbils are like little hamsters. They're little tiny rodents, basically. Okay, there's a little more on the back. They obtain water in the foods they find at night. White gazelles and addax, or screwhorn antelopes, also roam on the dunes. Amazingly, camels, which provide transportation in the Sahara, can go for nearly a week without water. Pretty crazy. That's a long time. So these animals have learned to survive in the hot weather where there's not a whole lot of water, and but not very many animals. I know it sounds like 70 is kind of like a lot, but when you think about how many thousands and thousands and thousands and millions probably of animals that we have in the world, 70 is really not that many. So a lot of animals would not be able to survive in the Sahara. I want to show you a map really quick on the screen here of the Sahara Desert to give you an idea of how big it really is. So here's a little map of the world. And here's North America. This is us right here, the United States. You see that is Florida right there. Here's Mexico. And here's California, way over here. That's where we're at right now. Africa is here. And do you see this whole tan spot? That whole area is the Sahara Desert. This is the Atlantic Ocean, and this is the Red Sea over here. That whole area is the Sahara Desert. Yeah, it's huge. If you compare that to the United States, it's almost like the same size as our whole country. It's hard to imagine because here's the whole United States and here's the whole Sahara Desert. It's like, it's huge. It's like the size of our whole entire country. So a lot of it, people are not living there, you know, it's a lot of it's just like sand. And then there's areas where people do live, where there's water, like the Nile River, and then these oases that are here and there throughout the desert. But I wanted to give you a visual of that. Yeah, it's pretty big. So it's hard to imagine. I mean, we know like the Mojave Desert. And it looks big to us, but really it'd be like a little tiny speck. Like you couldn't even see it. I think it's so small you wouldn't even be able to see a speck of it on the map here. And then here's the Sahara. So yeah, it's big and hot. I don't think I want to go there. I think I'll just read about it. Okay. Back to our note page here. I want you to turn this over to the back side. We're going to start working on the keyword outline. So let's set that up really quick. And you're going to start with just Roman numeral 1 up here at the top. And then I want you to write 1 through 6. And when you get to 6, put that one in parentheses because we're just going to have it there in case we need it. But you don't have to have 6 facts. You can stick to 5. And then we're going to do 2 paragraphs for this report. We're writing about deserts. We have 2 deserts. We have the Sahara and the Gobi Desert. Okay, those are the 2 topics we're going to write about. So I want you to skip a line and let's go ahead and put Roman numeral 2 and the same thing, do 1 through 6. Now this week we're just focusing on the first desert, the Sahara. So we're only writing 1 paragraph this week. And then next week you're going to write the second paragraph. But I wanted you to get your outline ready to go. So you have that for your set up for you. Okay. So like I said, the first paragraph is going to be about the Sahara Desert, which we just read about. So let's put next to Roman numeral 1, let's put Sahara Desert. Now it is the name of a desert. That's the proper noun. That's the name for it. So we're going to capitalize the S and the D because that's the name of the desert. And we get to count that as 1 word on our outline because it's a name. Okay, so even though it's 2 words, we're going to count it as 1 so that we can have 2 more words. Now, in the beginning, it mentioned that it was the world's largest hot desert. And I told you guys that that's a good sentence to underline. And I think we need to include that on our outline. So I think it would be good to put worlds, and I'm going to put an apostrophe S here, and then largest. And then I'm going to draw like flames there for heat or hot, or you can draw a sun or something that reminds you of hot, whatever that is, okay? Maybe a little bottle of hot sauce. A little Tabasco bottle. Whatever reminds you of hot. So we got Sahara Desert, world's largest hot, okay? We're going to introduce it that way in your report. And I know that, Caden, I know you don't have your article in front of you, but I think, Easton, did you underline this part where it talks about where it's at in Africa? Did you underline that sentence? Okay, good. So maybe that's not super interesting, but it is important to include because when a reader looks at a report, they got to know where you're talking about. So I think we need to mention that across the whole African continent. So I'm going to put here for next to number 1, whole, and then African, and then continent. And then I'm going to draw W arrow E. That means west to east. Do you guys know how to read a map a little bit? You know about north and south? Okay, good. So west is on the left side when you're looking down at a map. east is on the right side. So it's basically stretching, like we saw on the map, all the way to the ends of Africa. So it goes across the whole African continent from west to east. Okay, so we got the name of the desert, how big it is, where it is. So Easton, I'm going to ask you, is there anything else that you thought was interesting toward the beginning of this article? Did you underline anything else that you thought was interesting on yours?
How hot it can get?
Yeah, that's a good one. So how hot can it get?
120 degrees.
Yeah, and it actually has the word over right next to it. So it means it can even go hotter than that. Over 120 degrees. That's hot. That's like uncomfortable hot. That's like I can't be outside very long in that kind of heat. And then you get thirsty and then you get like dizzy and it's like too hot. So I think you're right. Let's mention that. It talks about how the climate is severe. That might be some way to write it. We could say climate, or what's your idea, Easton? Do you have an idea of how we could talk about how hot it gets there for our outline? Like what can we put for number 2?
I don't really know.
You don't have an idea? How about Caden? Do you know how we could say that on our outline? Do you have any ideas? I know you don't have the article there, but
Maybe hot with the exclamation mark.
yeah, I like that. How about, I kind of like how it says the climate is severe. Do you guys know what severe means? It's like extreme. It's not just a little bit hot, it's like extremely hot, severe. Like if you get a paper cut, that's just a tiny little paper cut. But if you're chopping up a vegetable and you accidentally like really cut into your finger, that's a severe cut, right? So you know the difference. The climate is severe. I kind of think maybe what if we say climate, comma, severe, and then we put hot, exclamation mark. I like that, Kaden. And then we could put 100. Ooh, I got an idea. We could do the math symbol like this. That means greater than. You guys remember that? Math greater than? Okay. So do like greater than 120 degrees, or it could represent like more than, it can get more than 120 degrees during the day. So we got climate, severe, hot, more than 120 degrees. So back to Easton. Did you happen to underline anything about like where the people live? Put this back up so Caden can look at it. Or I mean, Easton, did you underline anything about where the people live? No. What part did you underline, Easton? What else did you underline in your article?
Let me just show it to you.
Okay. So it looks like down here you talked about, oh, you underlined about the animals. Yeah, that was interesting. We'll get to that in a second. But I kind of feel like we need to talk about a little bit about where the people live too. Remember, it talked about how people can live near an oasis and then the Nile River. It makes sense, right? I don't know if you guys have ever read the Bible before, but it does talk about the Nile River and the Egyptians. Have you read that before? Yeah. So that's even in Bible times, that's where they lived because they needed to be by the water. They had to have water for cooking, for drinking, for washing clothes, for taking baths. I mean, you need water in life. So it makes sense that they live near the water. So I think we should mention that in your report. I think that's important. It might not be super interesting, but it's important to know. So we could talk about the oasis. And okay, I have an idea. People can live near an oasis. Maybe for people, could we draw a little stick figure? That'd be easy, huh? We'll start with that. Do a little guy here. On number 3, little guy. And I'm going to put near oasis. We could probably draw a little oasis. You know what those are? Have you heard about those before? It's like there's water and usually like a palm tree. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to draw a little, like a little lake with water and then a little palm tree next to it. There. I bet you could do a better job drawing. And we only have a tiny space. So this is water. A lot of times in like animations and stuff like that, you'll see if somebody's out on the desert or if it's like a animated film. Oh, like Aladdin, for instance, that one takes place in a desert, right? And they're walking along and they're hot, and they're tired and they're thirsty and they just like starving and they need water. And then they kind of see something in the distance and it looks like water with a palm tree. And they're like, oh, we're going to be saved. Okay, so that's the oasis. Sometimes it's a mirage. Have you ever heard of that one before? A mirage? Yeah. That's not real, right? They are hallucinating and they're imagining because they're about to die, maybe. I don't know. All right. So people live near oasis and they live near the Nile River. On the shores of the Nile River, because that's where they can use the water to cook with, to wash with. It's important to have water. Okay, so that's where they are. Now we can kind of move into the animals, because to me, that was pretty interesting to hear what kinds of animals live there. I saw, Easton, when you held up your paper, I think you might have underlined right here, only about 70 kind of animals survive. Did you underline that sentence? I thought you did. Yeah, okay. That would be a good one to talk about next. 70 kinds of animals survive in the Sahara because water is scarce. You know, that word scarce means it's hard to find. Okay, and these creatures can live for long periods of time without water. That's unusual. Most animals need more water to survive, but they can go a long time without water. So maybe we can mention that creatures live a long periods of time without water. So what if we put, let me ask Caden. How can we put that sentence into this outline? Creatures can live for long periods of time without water. How can we put that in our outline?
Creatures live
Mm-hmm.
and then long and then
Yeah.
maybe draw water and then an X.
Okay, I like it. Creatures live long. What if we did, do you guys remember the scientific symbol for water? H2O. Have you heard that before? H2O? Yeah, H2O. It goes like this. Or you can draw water if you like that idea better. H, and then it's like a little 2 and then an O. That's how you write water in scientific form. And we can circle it and draw a line through it. Or if you want to draw little water droplets or something, that's okay too. Or an X, like you said, Caden, that's a good idea too. Okay, so now we're to the point where we can start naming those animals. We've got 2 lines left. The 6 is in parentheses because you don't have to have 6, but it's there in case you want to include a little bit more information. You do have to have 5 though. So Easton, what are some animals, like pick 3 of the animals that you think are interesting that you want to list here that live in the Sahara. What 3 animals do you want to put?
The camel.
Wait, say it again.
The camel.
Camel. All of a sudden your microphone is being weird. I can't really hear you.
You can't hear me right now.
Not really, a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's a little better. Camels, what else?
Uh. I don't really know.
So the animals are at the bottom of page 73. And then there's a couple more on the back on page 74.
Lizards.
Lizards is one, good. And then what else?
Sand foxes.
And foxes, yeah. So we could put lizards. And sand foxes are basically they're the same color as the sand, so they can blend in, right? I'm just going to put foxes here. But if you want to draw sand somehow or something, you can. There's also vipers. You guys know what a viper is? Snakes, yeah, vipers. There's also gerbils. And then on the back, white gazelles and screwhorn antelopes. Those are those animals that have the twisty horns on them. So I think the animals are interesting to me. So I'm going to keep going on number 6, and I'm going to add gazelles. And you can add whatever animals you want to add here. We could do vipers and addax. That's the screwhorn antelopes. It's another name for them. So we didn't have to do number 6, but I put it there because I thought the animals were it's interesting to me. Remember, we're kind of focusing on what's interesting so that it's more fun to write about. Okay, you did it. We got through our outline. Now you're ready to write your paragraph. So I want to talk to you for a minute about the topic clincher rule. We already went over that a few times, but earlier today, I wrote an example for you here, okay? So you can just look at my screen. You don't have to write this down. But I wanted you to see what it's going to look like. Now, name and date go here, and then I left the title blank because I'm not done yet. We're going to write about the Gobi Desert next week, so you're going to leave a space for it. I think both of you guys like to type, huh? I think you guys type your stuff. Or no, Kaden, you handwrite it. Oh, maybe you both handwrite it. I forgot. It's been a while. Okay, so just draw a line for your title to leave a space. And here's an example. So this is my first sentence. I looked at, the first sentence we put here by Roman numeral 1. And obviously there's lots of ways to write this. This is just an idea. There are many deserts, but the Sahara Desert is the hottest and largest in the world. So I basically took the information we put here in next to Roman numeral 1. I made a sentence out of it. And you'll see I highlighted a few words. I'm going to tell you more about that in a second. But then I just did some scribbles here. Scribble, 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 blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about where they live, the oasis, blah, blah, blah. It's 120 degrees. I didn't write it all out, but you guys will on yours. This is just for an example. Then I got to my last sentence of my paragraph, okay? And I looked at the very last. Now, when I wrote this, I had different animals that I listed here. But I said, other animals that live in the blazing Sahara Desert are the white gazelle and the screwhorn antelope. That was my last sentence of my paragraph. First sentence, last sentence, a bunch of stuff in between that I didn't write yet. Okay, but you're going to write all that out. Now, notice I have some highlighted words. I also have boxes around the words. You don't have to do both. If you have a highlighter, I like that best. One of these that looks like that, if you have one. If you don't have one, that's okay. You don't have to go buy one, but you can put a box around the word. Don't underline the word though, because that's the dress up words, remember? Those are the ones we underline. So for the topic clincher, you're going to either use a highlighter or put a box around the words, but check out my words. I have Sahara and I have Sahara. Those are repeating. Remember, it's repeat or reflect, okay? Sahara, Sahara is repeating. Desert, desert, that's repeating. Then I have hottest and blazing. Those are two different words, but they are reflecting. That means they mean kind of the same thing, right? Hottest and blazing. They're almost the same thing. That's reflecting. So I have three words here: Sahara Desert hottest, Sahara Desert blazing. I have three words. Remember, it's 2 or 3 key words. I don't want you to highlight the and the or and. Those are not keywords. Remember, they have to be keywords, okay? In the first sentence and the last sentence. Notice I added these because my original sentence didn't have blazing or desert. It only had Sahara, and I was like, uh-oh, I need more than one. I had Sahara, Sahara. So I added desert and I added blazing so that I now have 3, okay? Do you guys have any questions about the topic clincher and how to do that? No? Let's look really quick at the checklist because I want to show you where it is on the checklist. I know you don't have yours, Caden, so just look on the screen here. On the checklist, this is page 79. It's the 4th box down, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's right here. Topic, clincher, sentences, repeat or reflect 2 to 3 key words, highlight or bold. And bold just means like making it darker, or you can put a box around it like I did. Okay, either way. Highlight is using a highlighter, one of these. But you're supposed to do that with every paragraph. So we're just starting with one paragraph this week for the Sahara Desert. So you only have to do it for this first paragraph for this week. The first sentence is your topic sentence. The last sentence is your clincher sentence. By the way, hold on. Go back to your outline for a second here. In the margin, I want you to write topic next to Roman numeral 1, and next to 6 over here in the margin, put clincher. That'll help you too. It's the first sentence and it's the last sentence. That's where you have to make sure to include those 2 to 3 key words. You guys have any questions about topic or clincher? That rule or anything like that? Okay, so I'll give you some feedback on Google Classroom once you turn it in to make sure you're on the right track with that. I also wanted you to look at the dress ups here. You've got ly adverb, who, which clause, strong verb, and you have because clause. I think that one might be new for you too, okay? Can't remember if you did that for, let me look really quick. Yeah, this is new, okay? You didn't do that for a little red hen, so the because clause, those are pretty easy. Like, I think those are probably the easiest ones to do. You're basically telling why something is the way it is. Like, if we look at your outline here, like this one for number 2, the climate in the Sahara is severe because it's hot and can get over 120 degrees during the day. The climate is severe because, that's a good spot to use because right here. Or people live near oasis because there's water, or people live near the oasis and the Nile River because there's water, or because they need water. Creatures live a long time without water because water is scarce, right? Because it's hard to find there on the desert. So I'm just giving you some examples. When you go to write your sentences, think about why something is the way it is, and then use that word because, and then you're going to underline it. So on your dress up, you now have 1, 2, 3, 4 words in each paragraph that you're going to underline for your dress ups, okay? And then one more thing to talk about is these banned words. You're not allowed to use these anymore, remember? So say, said, see, saw, think, thought, go, went. I don't think you'll have too much trouble with this one because you're really talking more about information. So I don't think you'll be needing those words. Okay, any questions about the checklist? No? You know what to do for your homework then, okay? So you're going to write 1 paragraph using this. Make sure you use your checklist. This is super duper important. In fact, I'm taking off points now on your homework if you don't use this. Like if you forget something, I'll take off some points for that. So make sure you follow this checklist. Yes, Easton?
What are the points like? How can you track them? Only you can track them or us?
Oh no, you should be able to track them. So on the Google Classroom, let me see if I can pull it up for you really quick. I'll look under Bob Smith. You know how I made up that student name? Let me see if I can go to his classroom. Hold on just a second. You should be able to see your points. And you can see if you're missing any assignments too. Hold on, I'm just checking. Okay, I see it. Let me show you. I gotta minimize that so I can share my screen. When you log in, good question, Kaden, by the way. I mean, sorry, Easton. Easton, you're the one that asked me that. Good question, Easton. Okay, so when you log into Google Classroom, it looks like this. Well, it looks a little different. This is a different level. But you see the tabs at the top here? You would go to classwork. You've probably seen this page before, right? Okay. See where it says view your work right here, Easton? Can you see that too? Right here? Easton, tell me, can you see that? Did he freeze? I think he froze on me. Are you frozen, Easton? He's like so serious. It's like, Easton, are you there? Anyway, he'll have to watch this later, but you click on view your work right here. And then on the side, you can see, oh, there you are, Easton. You froze for a second. You can see this guy, Bob Smith, only turned in a couple of assignments. He's a fake student anyway, but that's where you see your score over here on the side. If it says assigned, it means you didn't turn it in, okay? Did you freeze again, Easton? Did you have any questions, Kaden? Okay, that's how you find your homework. There you are. Oh my goodness. Your internet. Go here. Okay, Easton, go to classwork and then go to view your work. That's how you find it right there, okay? That's how you find your score. All right, guys. Good job today. I'll see you next week. Have a good one.